The Galactic Empire had been at peace for centuries, expanding its influence across the stars, defeating countless civilizations that dared to resist its might. They had never been challenged, until now. It started with an unexpected message that came through their most secure communications network. At first, it seemed like just another minor interference, a glitch in the system, or worse, an enemy trap. But the message, encrypted and carefully hidden within the static, contained a warning that the Empire could not ignore. It read, "Earth is different. Do not underestimate them." For weeks, the message was passed around among the Empire's top commanders and strategists. Some believed it was a trick, perhaps a psychological attack from one of the Empire's many enemies. Others felt it was a simple threat, nothing more than a desperate attempt to slow the Empire's progress. Regardless of its true meaning, the Empire's decision was final. Earth would be conquered just like any other world. Earth's defenses, after all, had never been tested against the might of the Empire. It was a small, relatively unknown planet in the farthest reaches of the galaxy. How could a civilization on such a backward world even think to resist? The order was given. A full-scale invasion of Earth was about to begin. The ships were already cloaked, hidden in the shadow of a distant moon, ready to descend upon the planet's vulnerable cities. The warships, massive and invisible to any human sensor, would be the first to strike. Meanwhile, far below, on the surface of Earth, the humans had no idea that their world was about to be plunged into a battle for survival. The camera zoomed in on a quiet military base, nestled in a remote part of the world. Inside, Captain Ethan Taylor sat at his desk, reviewing battle strategies. He was a man of few words, but his presence commanded respect. Tall, with a sharp jawline and eyes that held the weight of 1,000 decisions, Captain Taylor was one of Earth's most brilliant military minds. His reputation for tactical genius was well known. In previous skirmishes, his leadership had turned the tide, saving thousands of lives against overwhelming odds. But today, he wasn't sure if any of his plans would work. The human forces had been quietly preparing for years, but Earth's technology was no match for the advanced weaponry the Empire was known to possess. He glanced at his team, a group of soldiers and strategists gathered around him. Their faces were filled with doubt, and Captain Taylor knew they were all thinking the same thing. Could they really win against an enemy like the Empire? The weight of that uncertainty was heavy in the room. He didn't have all the answers, but he had one thing that no one else in the galaxy could claim: human ingenuity. "We can't afford to panic," Captain Taylor said, his voice calm but firm. "They think we're weak. They think we're easy prey. But we have something they don't: our ability to adapt, to fight with everything we have." But despite his words, Taylor could see the skepticism in their eyes. Most of his soldiers had never faced anything like the threat they were about to encounter. The question on everyone's mind was simple: could humanity really stand up to the might of the Galactic Empire? The moment of truth arrived far sooner than anyone expected. As Captain Taylor's team sat, deep in discussion, an alarm suddenly blared across the base, followed by a deafening boom that shook the walls. It wasn't a drill. The Earth had just been attacked. From the heavens above, alien warships began their descent, cloaked in invisibility. Their sleek, deadly forms glided undetected through Earth's atmosphere, completely unnoticed by human radar. The Empire had learned long ago how to manipulate cloaking technology, an ability that made their forces invisible to even the most advanced detection systems. Below, Earth's cities were alive with peaceful activity, unaware of the danger that loomed above. In bustling streets, people went about their daily routines, oblivious to the disaster heading their way. A child played in the park, laughing as a kite soared through the air. Across the street, a woman kissed her husband goodbye before he left for work. Everything seemed normal. Then, without warning, the sky was split open by a massive shockwave, a force so powerful it rattled every building and sent people running for cover. The air was thick with the sound of approaching destruction. Moments later, the first wave of alien ships uncloaked, releasing waves of missiles that struck the heart of Earth's major cities. Chaos erupted. The once peaceful Earth had now become a battlefield. The ground trembled as explosions echoed across the world. Buildings crumbled, and fireballs filled the sky. Captain Taylor, now standing at the command center, watched the devastation unfold on the screen in front of him. His heart raced, but there was no time for panic. The humans had no choice but to fight, and they had to fight now. Taylor's mind raced through tactical options, but the sight of the invasion was enough to make even the most experienced strategist second-guess himself. Earth's defenses were not ready for this. Not even close. The tension was unbearable. The unknown of what Earth was about to face gripped every soul. The Empire had underestimated them once, but now, Earth was under siege. It was clear that this was no ordinary attack. The warning from the mysterious message echoed in Taylor's mind. Earth is different. But was it true? Could humanity actually stand against the might of the Empire? Or was Earth doomed to fall like so many other worlds before it? As Captain Taylor gathered his troops, he gave them one final order. Prepare for war. This is just the beginning. The stakes were higher than ever before. The fate of Earth and its people now rested on their ability to overcome an enemy so powerful that it had conquered galaxies before. The humans had been warned, and now they had no choice but to face what was coming. The battle for Earth had begun. The tension in the air was palpable as the first shockwave rocked Earth. The warships above Earth, now fully visible, unleashed their devastating power. From the depths of space, the Galactic Empire's orbital bombardment began. High-tech missiles, capable of leveling entire cities, rained down from the alien ships. In a matter of seconds, several major coastal cities were wiped off the map. Tokyo, New York, Los Angeles. These symbols of human civilization became nothing more than smoldering ruins. Earth's defense systems were already strained before the attack began, but the scale of the bombardment was beyond anything humanity had ever prepared for. The EMP pulses from the alien weapons disabled any attempt to retaliate, leaving Earth's military forces with nothing but the rubble of their once proud cities. Panic swept across the planet. People scrambled for shelter, watching helplessly as their homes were reduced to ash. The devastation was unthinkable, and yet it was happening in real time. Humanity was on the brink of extinction, with no real hope in sight. Inside the command center, Captain Ethan Taylor stared at the screens, his face a mask of determination. The Empire had sent its first strike, and it had decimated the coastline. But Taylor knew that the war was far from over. It was only the beginning. Earth might be technologically inferior, but the humans had something the Empire didn't: the will to survive. "We're not done yet," Taylor muttered, his voice calm but firm. "Get me a team on the ground now." He quickly gathered his best soldiers, a team of highly trained individuals who had been preparing for this day in secret. They knew Earth's resources better than anyone, and they had been working on countermeasures, hoping for a moment like this. As much as the humans were outmatched, Captain Taylor knew they had the one advantage that could turn the tide: human ingenuity. "We may not have the weapons they have," Taylor said to his team, "but we know this planet better than anyone. This is our home. We will fight for it." His words were a spark of hope in a world on fire. The humans were about to take their first stand against the Empire, and they would use every trick they could to gain an advantage. The fight for survival had begun, and they would not back down. The city of Los Angeles was in chaos. The once bustling metropolis now lay in ruin, the buildings reduced to twisted wrecks. Alien warships hovered overhead, their cloaked forms turning visible as they began to deploy ground forces. The Empire's foot soldiers, heavily armored and wielding plasma rifles, marched through the streets, searching for any sign of human resistance. But the humans were already fighting back. Captain Taylor's team, armed with makeshift cloaking devices and improvised weapons, struck from the shadows. They knew how to move quietly, how to remain unseen. The aliens had the upper hand in technology, but the humans had mastered the art of guerrilla warfare. They didn't need advanced weaponry, just the will to win and the knowledge of their own terrain. The team moved swiftly through the rubble, using abandoned buildings as cover. Taylor led the charge, directing his team with precision. They set traps, camouflaged their positions, and waited for the invaders to move into their kill zone. When the aliens finally arrived, they were met with a series of explosive surprises. Mines hidden beneath the rubble detonated, sending alien soldiers flying into the air. Despite the chaos, the humans remained coordinated. They launched stealth attacks, taking out the enemy's vulnerable points. Each strike was a calculated move, and for the first time since the invasion began, the humans were making progress. A few minutes into the battle, the team succeeded in bringing down one of the alien ships, a minor victory that sent shockwaves through the Empire's ranks. But victory came at a steep cost. As the battle raged on, Captain Taylor's team faced wave after wave of alien soldiers. They fought with everything they had, using the city's maze-like structure to their advantage. But during one particularly brutal encounter, as they attempted to disable another enemy ship, tragedy struck. Bonner, one of Taylor's most trusted soldiers, was caught in the crossfire. As the rest of the team was engaged in battle, Bonner spotted an opportunity to take out an enemy drone that could potentially turn the tide of the fight. Without hesitation, he ran toward the drone's location, dodging enemy fire and leaving himself exposed. The moment he was within range, he detonated an explosive device, destroying the drone but sacrificing his life in the process. The explosion rocked the area, knocking the team off their feet. Captain Taylor scrambled to his feet, his heart sinking as he looked over at Bonner's lifeless body. The young soldier had given everything for the mission. For the first time since the invasion began, Taylor allowed himself a moment of grief, his mind overwhelmed by the loss of a friend and a hero. Bonner, no, Taylor whispered to himself, his voice breaking. But there was no time to mourn. The fight was still ongoing, and Bonner's death had to be avenged. Taylor stood tall, pushing aside his sorrow. He knew that his soldiers needed him now more than ever. The death of one man could not be in vain. "We keep fighting," Taylor said, his voice steady, though his eyes were filled with pain. "We fight for Bonner, and we fight for Earth." The humans were facing an impossible enemy, yet they had found their first taste of victory in this war. The loss of Bonner was a heavy blow, but it only fueled their desire to push forward. The Empire had underestimated Earth, and it was beginning to see that humanity had the will to fight back. As the battle in Los Angeles raged on, the humans knew that they had to stay one step ahead of the Empire. The odds were still stacked against them, but they now had hope. Hope that Earth could withstand the Empire's might and emerge victorious. The first strike from the Empire had shattered the Earth's defenses, but the humans had proven that they could adapt, survive, and fight back. The war was far from over, but with each passing moment, Earth's resolve grew stronger. Taylor and his team had just taken their first step toward victory, and they would not stop until they had secured Earth's future. The Galactic Empire had long been the ruler of the stars, with unmatched technology and an army of robotic soldiers at its command. They had taken countless worlds, each one crumbling beneath their superior might. Earth, in their eyes, was just another conquest. A simple backwater planet with primitive defenses, nothing more than a minor inconvenience. But the invasion had not gone as expected. The humans had fought back, and against all odds, they had scored a small victory by taking down one of the Empire's warships. The Empire, however, was not one to be deterred by such a trivial setback. Confident in their advanced technology and their superior numbers, they sent reinforcements that included their deadliest weapons yet. AI-controlled warships, massive and heavily armed, would descend upon Earth. The drones, programmed to adapt and learn from every battle, would ensure that no more human victories would come to pass. The Empire believed that the humans had merely gotten lucky, and they intended to prove that Earth would fall, no matter what. On Earth, Captain Ethan Taylor stood in the command center, eyes scanning the new information that had been transmitted. The reinforcements were coming, fast and powerful. His team had just fought off one wave of attackers, but this new assault would be unlike anything they had encountered. Earth's technology was still lagging far behind the Empire's. They were running out of time. "We need a miracle," Captain Taylor muttered, the weight of the war pressing heavily on his shoulders. He could see the fear in his soldiers' eyes. They had already lost so much. How much longer could they hold on? In the midst of all the chaos, one last glimmer of hope appeared. It came not from a new weapon or an advanced ally, but from something far older, a forgotten relic of Earth's past, a discovery buried deep beneath the surface of the planet. During a covert underground mission, a group of humans discovered what they thought was just an old, abandoned bunker. But inside, hidden among the dust and rust, lay something remarkable. A device, unlike anything they had seen before, an ancient piece of technology that seemed to defy the Empire's advanced weaponry. It was a relic from Earth's past, an artifact that had been lost for centuries, but it held the key to something extraordinary. It was a device capable of disabling cloaking technology, something the Empire relied on heavily. Their warships and drones, invisible to Earth's sensors, had been a terrifying advantage. But now, the humans had found a way to level the playing field. The device could reveal the Empire's ships, making them vulnerable to attack. Captain Taylor, eager to turn the tide, knew what had to be done. With this newfound technology, the humans had a fighting chance. It wasn't much, but it was a start. And in this war, any advantage was precious. He gathered his team, his resolve steely. "We have what we need," he said, holding up the device. "This is our chance to hit them where it hurts. We infiltrate their base, disable their cloaking shields, and give our fleet the opportunity to strike. This is our turning point." The mission to infiltrate the Empire's heavily guarded base was dangerous, but Captain Taylor's team was ready. Armed with the knowledge of Earth's terrain and the advantage of surprise, they made their way through the heart of enemy territory. The base was sprawling and heavily fortified, but they knew the stakes were high. If they succeeded, the Empire's advantage would be shattered, and they would finally have a chance to strike back. As they moved closer to their target, the team faced multiple obstacles: automated security systems, A-controlled sentries, and well-armed alien soldiers. The air was thick with tension as they snuck past patrols, using the cover of darkness to avoid detection. The team moved like shadows, their presence barely a whisper. Then, the moment arrived. Captain Taylor's team reached the heart of the base, the central control room where the cloaking shields were being managed. The device they had discovered was the key, and Taylor knew this was their one shot. They only had a few minutes to disable the cloaking technology before the Empire's reinforcements arrived. They were in. The air was thick with anticipation as the team worked quickly, setting up the device and linking it to the control systems. Outside, they could hear the hum of the Empire's warships moving closer, their presence now fully detectable. The team's hands shook, not from fear, but from the weight of the moment. The device powered up, and for the first time, Earth's ships were able to see the Empire's hidden fleet. "Now or never," Captain Taylor whispered, signaling the attack. As Earth's fleet engaged the Empire's warships in space, the battle was unlike any the humans had ever seen. For the first time, they could see their enemies, massive AI-controlled ships, their sleek forms gliding through space with deadly precision. The space battle that followed was fast and intense, with explosions lighting up the void as both sides unleashed their full arsenal. Earth's ships, now armed with the ability to track and engage the cloaked ships, fired with unrelenting fury. Missiles streaked through the darkness, impacting the Empire's warships with devastating force. For the first time, the humans had the upper hand. But the Empire wasn't going down without a fight. Its AI-controlled ships adapted quickly, retaliating with devastating precision. Earth's fleet, though newly empowered, was still outnumbered and outgunned. The battle raged on, each side pushing their weapons to the limit. Close-quarters combat raged aboard the ships as soldiers fought hand-to-hand, struggling for control of the bridge. Meanwhile, orbital bombardments rained down on the planet's surface, adding to the chaos. The key question remained: would this new technology be enough to take down the full might of the Empire, or would the humans be crushed under the weight of the Empire's superiority? Captain Taylor's team fought valiantly in the heart of the battle, pushing forward with every ounce of strength. The humans were not backing down. The new technology, the device they had found, was working, but the fight was far from over. As the battle reached its peak, the tension grew unbearable. Each move made the difference between life and death. Could the humans finally win this fight, or would the Empire crush their hopes? Only time would tell. The turning point had come, but the war was far from over. The outcome of this battle would shape the future of Earth and its people, and Captain Taylor was determined to make sure that humanity's fight for survival would never be forgotten. The fight was far from over. The humans had managed to turn the tide in their favor for a moment, but the Empire, never one to underestimate its enemies, had come back with a vengeance. The technology the humans had discovered gave them a fighting chance, but it was still a David versus Goliath battle. The Empire unleashed its newest weapons, AI-driven war machines that adapted and learned from every move the humans made. They quickly proved to be more deadly than anything Earth had ever encountered. Captain Taylor watched as Earth's forces struggled against these relentless machines. His soldiers, though brave and determined, were no match for the Empire's cold, calculating precision. The war machines seemed to anticipate every human move, countering them with ruthless efficiency. The battle shifted from the empty vastness of space to the very heart of Earth's cities, where the last human resistance was centered. The Empire's forces rained down devastation from the skies. Orbital lasers, fired from the Empire's warships in orbit, scorched the cities below. Entire blocks vanished in seconds as the Empire's weapons decimated everything in their path. Buildings that had once been symbols of human achievement were reduced to rubble. The battle was now taking place on Earth's surface, and the cities, once the pride of humanity, were becoming the final battleground. In the midst of the chaos, Sergeant Miller, Captain Taylor's trusted second-in-command, led a charge through a ruined city. They had no choice but to push forward, despite the overwhelming odds. But just as the humans advanced, a well-placed ambush caught them off guard. The sound of explosions echoed through the streets as Miller and his squad fought valiantly to hold their ground. It was too late. Miller was hit. His body collapsed to the ground, and the world seemed to stop for a moment. The humans could hear the devastating sound of the laser fire above them, but nothing could drown out the loss they felt in their hearts. Sergeant Miller was gone. Captain Taylor stood frozen, his eyes locked on his fallen comrade. The pain was real, but it also sparked something inside him. Something deep. The loss of Miller reminded him of the true cost of this war, the lives that were being sacrificed for Earth's survival. Taylor had always been a soldier, but now he was more than that. He was the leader of humanity's last hope. Gathering his emotions, Taylor turned to his team. They were devastated, but they couldn't afford to lose heart. "We fight for those we've lost," Captain Taylor began, his voice steady and full of purpose. "We fight for Earth. We fight for every person we've sworn to protect. Our greatest strength isn't our technology, it's our hearts, our minds. They can have all the machines and weapons in the galaxy, but they'll never have what we have. We won't stop fighting until the Empire falls." The words were powerful, and they struck a chord in his soldiers. It wasn't just about winning. It was about survival. It was about the spirit of humanity, the unyielding determination to keep going, no matter the cost. The loss of Sergeant Miller was painful, but it also fueled their desire for revenge. They would make the Empire pay for their actions. As the humans rallied together, they prepared for the final stand. They knew this was it, the last chance to drive back the Empire and protect their home. The city around them was in ruins, a symbol of the destruction the Empire had brought upon Earth. But the humans had something the Empire did not: the will to fight. The battle in the city was like nothing anyone had ever seen. As the last human resistance took position, the towering alien war machines advanced, their massive forms casting long shadows over the broken streets. The humans knew they had no chance against these seemingly invincible behemoths, but they refused to back down. With nothing but determination and their ingenuity, they'd fought. The humans launched improvised attacks, using the city's ruins to their advantage. They set up traps, hidden explosives, and ambush points, targeting weak spots in the machine's armor. It was guerrilla warfare at its finest: quick, unpredictable, and deadly. Every move the humans made was a testament to their resourcefulness. As the battle raged on, explosions echoed through the streets, and debris rained down from above, as ships engaged in orbital combat. The humans fought tooth and nail, throwing everything they had into the battle. Captain Taylor was right in the thick of it, his leadership and determination keeping his soldiers fighting even when the odds seemed insurmountable. The alien robots towered over them, firing their weapons and crushing everything in their path. But the humans refused to give up. One by one, the alien machines were taken down. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't quick. The humans had to rely on their wits, their strength, and their resolve. As the battle stretched on, the situation became even more dire. But no matter what, they fought. Above them, the Empire's warships engaged in a vicious orbital battle with Earth's forces. Laser beams and missiles streaked through the sky as both sides clashed in space. The human ships, once outclassed by the Empire's might, now had a fighting chance with the cloaking technology disabled. But even with the new advantage, the humans still found themselves vastly outnumbered. Back on the ground, the city seemed to be on the verge of collapse. But the humans were still standing strong. The heart of the battle was in the streets, where humans fought for every inch of their home. The air was thick with smoke and fire as the Empire's weapons tore through buildings, but the humans never faltered. And then, a breakthrough. The humans launched a final desperate attack on the remaining alien war machines. With one last push, the last of the AI-driven robots fell, its massive frame collapsing onto the street. The battle was far from over, but the humans had struck a mighty blow against the Empire. The key question remained: would their sheer willpower, their ingenuity, and their unwavering resolve be enough to overcome the might of the Empire's AI supremacy? The Empire had underestimated Earth. They had underestimated humanity's spirit, and that mistake might just cost them everything. The first sign of the coming invasion came as an encrypted message, one that defied every attempt to decipher it. The message was clear, its warning chilling: Earth is different. Do not underestimate them. The Galactic Empire's leaders scoffed at the message, dismissing it as nothing more than a prank, perhaps an enemy's attempt to deceive them. After all, they had the power of an entire fleet at their command, and the humans on Earth were nothing more than a small, defenseless species in their eyes. So without hesitation, they prepared to launch a full-scale invasion. Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Ethan Taylor was leading humanity's last line of defense. A tactical genius and a natural leader, Captain Taylor had earned the respect of his troops through his unwavering belief in their potential. Yet, as he looked at the state of Earth's defenses, outmatched by the superior technology of the Empire, he couldn't help but feel a gnawing doubt. His soldiers, despite their courage, were beginning to question their chances of survival. How could they fight against such overwhelming odds? Yet Taylor remained resolute. He had seen humanity rise against the impossible before, and he knew that they had something the Empire didn't, something that could change the course of history: their ingenuity. Earth's forces, while technologically inferior, understood their planet and its resources better than any alien invader ever could. As Captain Taylor was strategizing with his team, the silent menace of the Empire moved closer. Above Earth's atmosphere, massive alien warships cloaked themselves, their presence entirely undetected by Earth's sensors. They were already on their way, and the people below had no idea. The peaceful cities of Earth, filled with the hustle and bustle of everyday life, were unaware of the impending doom. But then, without warning, the calm was shattered. A deafening shockwave exploded across the planet as the first shots were fired. The invasion had begun. The Empire wasted no time. Their first strike came in the form of an orbital bombardment. Several major cities along Earth's coast were obliterated in the blink of an eye. Earth's military scrambled to respond, but it was too late. The human forces were no match for the Empire's advanced weaponry. Cities burned, and people fled in panic, unsure of how they could fight back against such overwhelming power. Yet Captain Taylor refused to surrender. Despite the odds, he gathered his forces and gave a speech that rallied his troops, reminding them of what they were fighting for. Earth had something the Empire didn't: humanity's will to survive. Taylor's soldiers might have been outgunned, but they knew their planet. They understood it in ways the Empire never could, and that knowledge would be their greatest weapon. In the ruins of the city, the humans engaged in a desperate battle against the invaders. The alien forces were ruthless, but the humans fought with everything they had, using guerrilla tactics and making use of Earth's environment to their advantage. They set traps, used cloaking devices, and improvised with whatever they could find. The humans were able to destroy one of the alien warships, creating a brief but much-needed victory. But victory came at a steep cost. Sergeant Bonner, one of Captain Taylor's closest allies, was killed in an ambush while trying to save his team. His loss was a blow to the heart of the resistance. But even in the midst of sorrow, something else ignited within the humans. Their resolve hardened. They weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting for their fallen comrades, for Earth itself. The Empire, confident in their technological superiority, sent reinforcements to Earth. New eye-controlled warships and drones were deployed to quash the human resistance once and for all. In their eyes, the victory over one warship was nothing more than a fluke. They sent their most advanced machines to crush the remaining humans. However, the humans weren't giving up. During a covert mission, Captain Taylor's team discovered something extraordinary: an ancient piece of Earth's technology. It was a long-forgotten device capable of disabling the Empire's cloaking technology. This discovery gave them a glimmer of hope. With this new weapon, the humans could finally see the full force of the Empire and strike back more effectively. Armed with this newfound advantage, Captain Taylor led his team to infiltrate an alien base, one that was heavily guarded by the Empire. The mission was a dangerous one, but it was their only chance. They managed to disable the cloaking shields of the Empire's fleet, making their ships visible for the first time. The human ships, now armed with this advantage, engaged in a breathtaking space battle. Explosions lit up the sky as both sides clashed in a deadly struggle. Close-quarters combat unfolded in the vacuum of space, while orbital bombardments rained down from above. The battle was fierce, but the humans had the edge they needed. Even with this victory, the war was far from over. The Empire, now aware of Earth's resilience, retaliated with even more advanced weapons. They unleashed AI-driven war machines, massive adaptive robots that could learn from every human tactic. Earth's cities, once vibrant and full of life, became the final battleground. The Empire's forces deployed orbital lasers with pinpoint accuracy, turning major cities into ruins. The fight now moved to the streets, where humanity's survival was at stake. Captain Taylor's team continued to fight, but their enemies were becoming more formidable with each passing moment. In the midst of one of the most intense battles, Sergeant Miller, Captain Taylor's second-in-command, was killed in an ambush. His death hit the team hard. Miller had been a pillar of strength, and his loss was devastating. But in the face of tragedy, Taylor rallied his troops once again. "Our greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our hearts, our minds," he declared, his voice filled with conviction. "We won't stop fighting until the Empire is destroyed." The final battle loomed on the horizon. With Earth's survival on the line, the humans prepared for one last, daring assault. They had taken the Empire's technology and turned it against them, using cloaking devices to sneak into the heart of the Empire's command ship. The humans were no longer the underdogs. They were now the predators. Captain Taylor led the charge against the Empire's flagship, facing off against the Empire's AI general, a cold, calculating machine. The fight was intense, and the stakes had never been higher. As Taylor fought the AI general, he embodied humanity's struggle against the tyranny of artificial intelligence. It was a fight not just for survival, but for the soul of humanity. Would the humans be able to defeat the AI general and destroy the Empire's command ship? Or would the Empire crush humanity's light forever? The battle would decide the fate of Earth, and with it, the future of the galaxy. In the heart of the chaotic battle, Captain Ethan Taylor found himself face to face with the central AI that had commanded the Empire's fleet. The once confident and seemingly invincible force had crumbled before humanity's spirit and ingenuity. With every ounce of strength he had left, Taylor plunged his blade into the heart of the cold, calculating machine. The AI, designed to oversee the Empire's entire operation, flickered and shut down, its control over the invaders slipping away in an instant. The destruction of the central AI sent shockwaves through the Empire's forces. Without their leader, the coordination between the alien ships faltered. Their once unstoppable fleet, now disorganized and vulnerable, was easy prey for the humans. The surviving invaders, realizing the immense strength that Earth had displayed, began to retreat, abandoning their once confident stance. The Empire had underestimated humanity, thinking of Earth as a primitive planet. Now, the Galactic Empire knew the truth. Earth was not a weak world to be easily conquered. It was a force that could stand toe-to-toe with the mightiest empires in the galaxy. As the final alien ship disappeared into the depths of space, Captain Taylor stood amidst the wreckage of the battlefield, breathing heavily. The victory was theirs, but the cost had been high. The loss of comrades, including Sergeant Miller and countless others, weighed heavily on him. But in the same breath, there was a sense of pride. They had fought against impossible odds and emerged victorious. Humanity had done the unthinkable. They had held their ground against a powerful empire, and they had won. Back on Earth, the people gathered to mourn their fallen heroes. In every city, flags were raised, and tears were shed for the soldiers who had sacrificed everything to protect their home. Yet, amid the sorrow, there was a sense of unity and hope. Humanity had come together in the face of annihilation, and their victory was proof that Earth was no longer a planet to be dismissed. Earth's defenses had been strengthened, not just by alien technology, but by the unwavering resolve of its people. Now the world was more prepared than ever to face any future threat. Captain Taylor, standing at the edge of a military base, looked up at the sky. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. The Galactic Empire had been only one of many forces that could threaten humanity. The universe was vast, filled with unknown dangers, but humanity had proven its resilience. Taylor knew that the victory they had earned today would be the foundation of a new era for Earth. No longer would they be the underdog, the weakling in the corner of the galaxy. They had earned their place among the stars. The Earth was changing. With each passing day, humanity was advancing technologically, adapting the alien technology they had salvaged from the wreckage of the Empire's ships. The scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, blending their newfound knowledge with their own innovations. Earth was becoming a technological powerhouse, not just to defend itself, but to explore the far reaches of space. Humanity had tasted the power they could wield, and they would never go back to their old ways. Taylor's gaze shifted to the horizon, where Earth's bright blue skies stretched out before him, a symbol of peace and hope. The peaceful landscapes of Earth were a stark contrast to the destruction of the past days, a reminder of everything they had fought for. As he stared at the vast expanse of space beyond the planet, He knew that humanity's place in the galaxy was now secure. The fight was not over, but Earth was ready for whatever challenges the universe would throw at them. In space, Earth's fleet began to patrol the galaxy, with human ships ready to face any threats head-on. The once small planet now had a presence that stretched across the stars. Earth was no longer just a blip on the radar. It was a force to be reckoned with. The Empire had learned that lesson the hard way, and no other enemy would make the same mistake. The human ships, now equipped with advanced alien technology, moved through space with purpose. Their weapons were powerful, their tactics refined, and their resolve unwavering. They had proven that humanity could hold its own, and they were ready to defend their home, their allies, and their newfound place in the galaxy. They were no longer a fledgling species, uncertain of their future. They were warriors, protectors, and explorers, prepared to carve out their legacy among the stars. As Captain Taylor walked away from the battlefield, his mind wandered back to the faces of his fallen comrades. He could feel their presence, their spirits with him as he led humanity into this new era. The cost of victory had been steep, but it had forged a stronger, more united humanity. Earth was no longer a vulnerable world, sitting idly by as the galaxy's powers clashed. It was now a beacon of hope and strength, ready to take on whatever lay ahead. The battle for Earth was won, but the galaxy was a vast and unpredictable place. There would be more challenges, more enemies to face. But now, humanity stood tall, their hearts and minds united in the knowledge that they could face anything. And as Taylor looked to the stars, he knew that Earth's greatest days were just beginning. The victory over the Galactic Empire was not just a turning point. It was the dawn of a new age. An age where Earth's light would shine bright, and where humanity's strength would echo across the galaxy. The war had been won, but the journey was far from over. And in the heart of every human, there was a shared determination. They would never back down, never surrender. Earth had proved its worth, and the galaxy would know it forever.